Hey everybody. So I decided to do a video. One because I had read so many bad reviews about Spirit Airline. Um, that February the 1st through the 4th, I wanted to go to Vegas for my birthday. And me and my best friend, we was comparing rates with Delta, with Spirit, just trying to see who had the better rate. And that's why I look as horrible as I do, because we got back last night from Vegas and I was tired, but I was like, I gotta do a review about Spirit. Um, but we was real hesitant because it was my first time flying. And we had heard, good, the bad, the ugly about Spirit, about them losing your luggage, about flight delays, flights being canceled, that it's like the ghetto is of the ghetto. Um, Airlines, like compared to Soul Plane, everything. Well, when we got ready to book the day after Thanksgiving, so it was November, whatever day, 28, whatever day it is after Thanksgiving. When we decided to book our flights, it wound up being like $270 from Atlanta to Vegas, and round trip. Our friends had also booked with Delta because initially we were all planning on going with Delta. I'm sorry, I'm gonna turn the TV down because I feel like it was too loud. But some of my other friends had went with Delta. Their flights with Delta, because they booked really, really early, was like 268. So I was like, it's my first time flying. I could see 270, 300. I didn't want to go past 300. Well, with Delta, it's up, down, and it depends on what day you book your flight. So with me and that particular friend, on the day we booked our flight, Spirit had the better rate. Had we booked with Delta, it probably would have cost us like around $310, give or take. My luggage bag that I bought during the Thanksgiving holidays was a 24-inch. So it was too big, because I guess for a carry-on it has to be like 23 or under. So it was too big to be a carry-on. So in order for me to take extra stuff, I would have had to do a check bag, or I would have had to go out and exchange that bag for a smaller bag. Which I could have went back and did it at Belts, but I didn't really feel like it. So we decided to go ahead and book with Spirit. And when we booked, we chose our seats. We didn't do the bundle, but we chose our seats. We went ahead and checked our bags. And at that point, we was like, we wasn't gonna get insurance. So all together, when we first booked, it was like $270, and we picked a good time. Because we was initially scheduled to fly out from, and I'm gonna get to why I said initially. We was initially scheduled to fly out from Atlanta at like 12 o'clock, I think, and we were supposed to land in Vegas around 2 something. So Spirit and Delta, all of them kind of had that same 11 to 12 o'clock flight time, arrive in Vegas around the 1-2 o'clock. Well, long story made short, Spirit did in the beginning start, they sent out something and said the flight was being moved up from whatever the 12 o'clock time was to like 11 something. Then on the day of Saturday, they sent out another one and said the flight was delayed and we would fly out like around 12:10, and we would get in Vegas by 1:17. So I had been looking on YouTube, and I had been reading reviews, and I mean, I read a lot of reviews. If I travel, I'm just a review reading kind of person. I'm gonna read and look and see what everybody's saying. So we get to Atlanta, because one of my homegirls, she wasn't going. So she was like, y'all can leave your car here so you don't have to pay for airport parking. And so we wound up going to her house in Fairburn, and she took the two of us to the airport and dropped us off at the Spirit check-in location. So I was real impressed with the little kiosk where you can go. And in my case, I had the Spirit app on my phone. So you can hit the app, and when you hit the app, then it automatically kind of check you in, and you read through all the stuff, and you accept, and it print out your luggage tag, and you can weigh your luggage and make sure that you're under the 40 pounds. But you can weigh your luggage if you haven't already done so. And you can also tag your luggage, because you have to do the self tag, and then you have your boarding pass. So when you go up to the Spirit counter in Atlanta, you show them your boarding pass, your ID. They take your luggage, they weigh it again, and they put it on a conveyor belt. So, of course, I had heard all over the place about luggage being lost. So I said, well, let me buy the insurance. So like on that Friday, I didn't tell my homegirl that was flying with me, but I went in and I bought insurance. I was like, if my shit get lost, even though I didn't have anything major in my luggage, in my check bag, but my clothes, my shoes, I was smart enough to know to take the clothes that I was gonna wear out that Saturday night out my check bag and put it into my personal item bag. But I was like, just in case my shit get lost, I wanted my shit. So I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. So I wound up putting all of that stuff into my personal items bag, and then I had my stuff in my check bag, which means it was way less than 40 pounds. But I like that. We went through TSA in Atlanta. How I've heard Atlanta was a zoo. We went through with no problem, no issues. We was in the concourse and we still had like an hour and some change before we were scheduled to fly out. So we were checking on our homegirls that flew out with Delta, and they were like, oh, we're still in TSA. We're still going through the lines. And we're like, girl, we done went through the line. We done checked our bags. We eating. Like, we're sitting here eating, enjoying ourselves until our flight leaves. So we wind up doing that, and they said they was gonna board at like 10:55. So right at 10:55, they can be kind of ghetto. They did board zone. They asked for all those flying with children, and they asked for those that needed assistance to go ahead and come up first. Then they did zone 1, they did zone 2, and in Atlanta, after they did zone 2, they was like all other zones. So we were like in zone 3 because we was on like seat row 15. And it was really strange because the guy that was in line in front of us when we got ready to board just so happened to have been the same guy that sat on the road with us. So that was like really, really weird. But it worked out that way. And we like 15, and he was like, don't pay me no mind. I've been out here in Atlanta working because he do something with music. So he put his jacket over his head and he slept from Atlanta pretty much to Vegas. But the flight was real smooth. I can say, there was maybe a little turbulence being my first time flying, but it wasn't that bad. Like, I didn't want to get up and go to the bathroom or anything. I was like, I can't do it. But for the most part, it was a smooth flight. So we enjoyed ourselves in Vegas. This is not a review of Vegas, but I would say we had a very, very good time. As you can see, looking at my face, you could tell that I'm just tired and I'm sleepy, but I had to do this review. So on our way back from Vegas, getting ready to go to the airport, or once we got to the airport in Vegas, the Spirit on the Vegas side, they do have the little kiosk where you could check in, get your boarding pass for free. You could print out your luggage tag for free, but we didn't see in the scales. At least I didn't see in the scale. People were taking their bags up to the scale where you can drop your luggage, and they were shaking their weight on that scale. But like in Atlanta, they had the scales out. So when you go and print out your luggage tag, you can check your weight there. So I felt like my bag was still under 40 pounds. Now, the difference between going and coming is your first time leaving, going out, you want to make sure everything perfect. So you go by that 311 rule, about the 3 ounces. All my stuff was neat going to Vegas, but coming back, it was like I just throw stuff. Okay, I can put that in there, and I put it in there. But I just knew all my stuff that was bigger than or more than 3 ounces, it had to go in that check bag. So we get there to the airport in Vegas, getting ready to come back to Atlanta. And when I went to check in, because I used a little barcode that was on my phone, it scanned my barcode, and then it printed me out a boarding pass, because you go through, you read all the stuff, and you accept. And when I accepted, it printed out my luggage tag for Atlanta, but my boarding pass had me going to Detroit. I don't know if it was my boarding pass or what happened there, but it printed out a boarding pass for Detroit. I'm pretty sure of it. So when I got up, because the line was so long, because in Las Vegas, you do a self-check-in with your bag, meaning you take your bag, you get in a long line, and when you get up to the front of the line, it has a little weight scale where you put your bag up, it weigh your bag, and if your bag is over, then I guess it give you something where you got to go and pay or tell you to go see an attendant. But you pretty much put your own bag on the conveyor belt. But it was so many people Spirit had that was flying out of Vegas, going everywhere, going home or going wherever, that they wind up telling you to go and see one of the attendants, and they didn't charge you, and that was a good thing, because they say Spirit charge you for everything. Never talk to anybody because they charge you for everything. But in this particular case, we didn't talk to anybody. We asked the lady, we was like, well, the line is long. Our flight was scheduled to leave at 12:10 or 12:15. And it was like, it was an on-time flight. We were there like at 11 something. So we wanted to know, did we need to get in the long line? Because we seen people getting out the long line, going up, talking to the attendants, and they were wearing their bags. And she was like, no, just go ahead and get in one of the lines. So we got in the line. And we got up to the attendant, and I gave her my boarding pass and my ID. And she says, you're going to Detroit? Because my friend had gave her hers, and hers clearly said she was going to Atlanta. But she didn't check in on her app. She checked in. She pulled up her confirmation number and checked in directly on the kiosk. So for me, it was like, I was like, no, I'm not going to Detroit. I'm going to Atlanta. Like, I got to go home. I need some rest, and I got to go to work on Thursday. So she was like, it's fine, it's fine. She said, I just need your name. And I gave her my name because she had my ID, and she pulled me up in the system. And clearly in the system, it said I was going to Atlanta, because I know that what my boarding pass on the phone said I was going to Atlanta. So she said, sometimes that happen. I said, but it's weird because I checked my luggage tag, and my luggage tag said Atlanta, but my boarding pass said Detroit. So she got us all squared away. We went back up. We went upstairs in Vegas to go through TSA. Now they TSA compared to Atlanta TSA, which I don't think Vegas was expecting that many people to be flying out on a Tuesday, because they only had like 3 lines you can go in where they were checking your ID. And I was used to, in Atlanta, they check your ID and your boarding pass, but in Vegas, they just wanted to see your ID. And they ran it through, and as long as you didn't have anything to come back, you were fine. But then when we got up to the little bin thing, the conveyor belt, of course, we had to take off our shoes. I had on a tank top and nothing up under, just a jacket that I had, fitted jacket I had zipped up. And the guy was like, don't worry about taking off your jacket. Just put your hand up above your head so that it can scan you. But when we was at the TSA, they had like 10 people coming on shift. So I'm very impressed with Vegas that they had their TSA people, which some people probably called out because it was Monday, Tuesday coming in off of the Super Bowl. But I was really impressed that they had people coming in to come to work, especially in TSA, to accommodate the people that needed to go home. And because it was so many of us on Tuesday. So once people were checking in and they were getting their stuff squared away, they supervisor were like, here, you come to this station and you go to that conveyor belt. That they were opening up stations as we were coming through, but we were really just trying to go through at that point. So once we got through there, of course, they're not like Atlanta. You don't have to get on the train and all that stuff like that at Vegas. You got one direction you go for this way, and one direction you go for the other, and then I guess some other people on the other side. We were able to get to ours. I think we was like E8 or something like that, or 8E, something of that nature. And so the only restaurant that was down by us was Moe's Grill. I'm sorry, y'all, there's somebody walking down the street and they really loud. But we me and my homegirl wind up using the restroom, and we went down to Moe's to get us something to eat. And so the whole time up until then, they was like, this was an on-time flight. And you could tell it was an on-time flight because the waiting area, and when I say little, it's just because I guess Spirit run that whole little section down there, because it was all the Spirit flights were down there on that end. But long story made short, it was an on-time flight. It was scheduled to be an on-time flight. And so we done got I'm from Georgia. I'm from the South. We had gotten our food. And after we had gotten our food, we sitting there and I'm like, I'll just wait, eat on the plane. Because the flight 2 was real smooth. So I was like, I'll just wait, eat my food on the plane. But then they come across the intercom and it goes, the flight for Spirit from Las Vegas to Atlanta is being postponed. Not delayed, but postponed. They was like, it's an issue with the plane and we want to fix the issue before the flight takes off. Now, I'm a Georgia girl, first time flying. You talking about you got to fix an issue on the plane before we fly out? And I'm like, Lord, it's a lot of ways for you to take me, but please don't take me on that plane. Amen. So me and my homegirl, we kind of sat there, and I was like, because I had got a rice bowl, rice, beans, steak, bacon, cheese. I wanted my bowl to be good. And I was like, man, I should have just went ahead and started eating when I first sat down instead of waiting to eat when I got on the plane. Cause now I don't want to eat because you sitting there trying to tell me that the plane has some type of issue going on. So about 10 minutes out, the pilot come off. At least one of the pilot come off. I was like, I know it got to be two people that flying the damn plane. So the pilot come off. I guess he goes to the bathroom and he go and do something and he come back. And then about another 5 minutes after that, they go to start boarding up people. Now, Spirit in Atlanta, zone 1, zone 2, and then after zone 2, everybody. I mean, in Atlanta, it didn't matter. Of course, Spirit tell you one personal item, personal bag. But in Atlanta, not saying you had a whole bunch of stuff you were taking on the plane, but they didn't say nothing about your purse considered to be a personal item, or, if you bought a gift from the gift shop, that's considered to be a personal item. In Atlanta, it was like, okay, y'all, come on, let's go. But in Vegas, they was like one personal item. If you had your pocketbook, they wanted you to put your pocketbook inside your personal item bag. If you had a gift bag, and I guess they looked at the gift bag and quote unquote thought that it was too much stuff, they wanted you to put your gift bag inside your personal item bag. If not, then they was going to charge you in Vegas. They wanted to charge you for a carry-on, and they wanted to charge you $65 because you was having to pay for that carry-on bag when you were boarding the plane. So to me, I felt like they were doing a little bit too much in Vegas when it came time to board the plane. I really, really did. I think the lady that was down there that was handling, quote unquote, handling everything, I think she was just doing too damn much. That's what I felt like. Because I was like, this shit crazy. Like, coming out here, we ain't go through this, but trying to go home, you going to take her through the ringer, but we had to sit here while they were fixing the plane. Like, come on, sir. Be for real. But lo and behold, I just had my personal item bag. I had already been smart enough to put my pocketbook inside my personal item bag before I even got to the airport. And I just had my ID in a little separate area. So, once we boarded the plane, it was kind of cool, but we sat in the back of the plane because it was my first time flying. The first time we sat towards the middle. So going back, I wanted to sit further back so I could see what it was really like on the bus. So we sitting in the back of the bus, and I noticed from the back of the bus, you feel everything, you see everything, and it's scary as fuck. It was a lot of turbulence. Like I said, they had told us, coming back, they had told us to expect turbulence. They was like, so of course we had to fly high enough to get over the mountains. But after we got kind of high, the wind was beating us up, and I was just like, this shit scary as fuck. Because the turbulence is like God himself was pushing down on the plane, and I'm like, God, this ain't the time to be playing, stop pushing down on the plane. But we had fun. Once, the seatbelt sign, keep your seatbelt on. They tell you to keep it on anyway when you sit down. But it was one of those flights where you really, really needed to keep your seatbelt on. In the beginning part of the flight, it was some Asian or Oriental people. They was having issues because the lady mother wanted the father or her husband, they were older, to sit next to her. And so they really just wanted the whole row to themselves. But the guy had paid for his seat and he had paid for an end seat. So they was like, no, y'all can do what y'all want to. Y'all two sit here and then somebody else sit up there, but he gets this end seat because he paid for his end seat. And so it was a little bit of confusion there, but once they got that straightened out, and they had a whole bunch of people that they were training on the flight, but once they got it all straightened out, it was okay. We did, take off, and, with the grace of God, we did land very smoothly. As you can see, I'm still here, so we didn't crash or anything like that. But like I said, the flight itself, it was just a little bumpy because of the turbulence. But it was high winds on Monday, and it was high winds on kind of like Tuesday in Vegas. Now, Sunday was my birthday. Sunday in Vegas, Super Bowl Sunday, was perfect. It was like 74 degrees, no wind, no anything. But supposedly some windstorm came through, and it was going through Monday and Tuesday, and it really did have its effect. But all in all, I just want to say Spirit did Spirit did have a they did well. They did so well that I'm supposed to take my daughter to New Orleans for New Year, for Christmas, New Year, because we're not doing gifts this year. I don't think if we live to see it, because we have all learned that time is very short and things happen, and you just have to make the most of your time that you're here. So this year my daughter wants to go to New Orleans, and we talked about going for either Christmas or going for New Year. So, lo and behold, we're flying Spirit. Spirit, at this point, at least on the Atlanta side, I'm a believer that Spirit, the seats were not that bad. The food and stuff was kind of high, but I've been learned a long time ago. Like I said, I come from the South, from the deep South, where people still take food, they take candy. If they can, they'll take a soda into the movie theater. So I come from that portion of the South, like Southwest Georgia, deep Southwest Georgia. So, getting on Spirit, it don't bother us that they charge you whatever for snacks or whatever. Okay, dear, we're going to go ahead and we're going to load up on us some snacks. We're going to put those snacks in our personal bag. We're going to put those snacks on the top of our other stuff. Moving forward, I probably wouldn't do a check bag. If I'm only going to be gone somewhere for about 3 or 4 days, I'm going to go do it what everybody else doing, the roll-up method. And I'm going to take one pair of good shoes, which are my tennis shoes, and my slides, because I have just learned most of the places that you go, you wind up walking anyway. So there's no need to take the heels and the boots unless you're planning on going out. But take plenty of tops and take a couple of dresses, because we women, we get away with a dress in the winter time, and with a nice pair of comfortable tennis shoes, you'll be cute. So Spirit, I just want those to know, when you hear the good, the bad, and the ugly about Spirit, sometimes you truly do just have to try it for yourself. And if you like my review, then go ahead and like it. I'm not gonna say subscribe to my page, because I'm really not a YouTuber. Like, I do reviews online about the places that I go to, but I'm not a review type of person. Because I really don't like to get in front of the camera, because even right now my head look big, and as you can see back there behind me are my daughter's coats, because I just got home last night and all of her coats were in the living room and I didn't feel like getting them up. But yes, when she get home from school today, she gonna take all of her jackets down the hall to her room. But so I would not say necessarily subscribe to my page, but definitely if you like the review or you want to comment, I'm a talkative person. I would love for you to like the review, or go in and plead your case, whether it was good, bad, or indifferent with Spirit. But so far so good, so I'm convinced I can definitely fly with them with my daughter, being that we're just gonna take personal item bags. If we make it to New Orleans, if that is still a goal, it would be just we're gonna take personal item bags. We're not doing check bags, none of that, because they are cheap. So that's just me. I'm the cheapity of the cheap. I enjoy going places, doing stuff. I did, like I said, read some stuff and saw some videos that had me like, what in the hell have I done? But I can say I did have a good experience. Peace out. One love.